A lot of you, and by a lot of you, I mean literally no one, has asked for this video. I'm going to hold your hands when I say, I used to be Christian. Now, the rest of my family is Christian, or at least I would assume they are, and they know that I'm not Christian. Even if any of them aren't Christian, that wouldn't stop me from calling them family. I should respect and love them regardless of religion, race, gender, sexuality, or anything like that. To be completely fair, I don't think that I really fit anywhere in terms of religion. I just don't believe anything right now. Christianity just isn't the one for me. It's given me one too many problems in the past, especially with direct family. So I figured that I would ramble about my old church. No, I won't be giving out names or the name of the church for privacy reasons. However, I do know that in the act that anyone associated with the old church stumbled upon this video or was sent the link, I have absolutely no hard feelings with you. Though this is not stopping me from sharing what good and bad things happened in the church. Also, no, this isn't some video where I'm quote-unquote exposing the church, I'm simply just stating what happened to me at this church. I'll start with the more tame things first. So, when I was young, I can't remember specific age periods, I would play Five Nights at Freddy's in real life with some of the others at the church. How my church was run was that we had a bunch of back rooms used for youth sessions and adult classes, where we would be taught the Bible. There were a bunch of connecting hallways and rooms that circled around the commons room where all the sermons would happen. These hallways connected to the lobby of the church. I'll put a diagram on screen so that you guys can get a better picture. Now, the back hallways, highlighted in yellow, would be usually where we played FNAF in real life. Because most of us were interested in Five Nights at Freddy's at the time, this made things way easier on us. We would turn off the lights and try to hunt down the night guard, or night guards, depending on how many people were being the night guards. There were obviously multiple people who were the animatronics, unless we wanted to do the FNAF 3 version, where it was a 1v1 game. Usually my friend, who I will be calling Luca for the sake of privacy, and I would end up doing this version if nobody else wanted to play with us. He and I absolutely had a blast playing this, given that neither of us really had to pick roles. He loved being the guard, and I loved being Springtrap in this scenario. It also kinda didn't help that I had a massive interest in Springtrap at the time. Well, with all good things, there's obviously an end. Because we usually played with the lights out, the pastor, who, mind you, was a complete asshole, decided to ruin our fun. Well, yeah, I get that there was safety reasons as to why she did this. We were at least somewhat safe by having a few lights on, and the doors being cracked open, or open fully to the very least. There were blinds in the room, or in almost every single room, except for the one specific senior youth room. This old senior youth room was later changed to just a general room after the senior youth decided to move to a new area. Now, as for the pastor, of course, she tattled to our parents, who then proceeded to scold us. Us being teens at the time, we didn't really listen, and we were in pure goblin mode. We were sure that the next time that we played, it would be pure chaos, and that's exactly what it was. Until the fun was ruined again. Someone decided to tattle on us, and it was none other than the pastor's daughters, who she called her perfect angels. Perfect angels in quotations there. This one went on a bit longer than I had anticipated, so let's move on to the next good experience. I don't know how many of you on my channel have heard of VeggieTales or 321 Penguins, but the senior youth and myself absolutely loved these. It was mostly 321 Penguins that we loved, however. Since our senior youth teacher normally wouldn't have any lesson plans, we would end up watching 321 Penguins on some old VHS tapes on an old TV. And yes, this is the type of TV that made that static sound when you turned it on and continues to make a high-pitched static sound when it's on. When the teacher did have a lesson, there was always that one guy who would plead with the teacher to put on 321 Penguins. I'll call this guy Lucas. Lucas had a friend of his who I will be calling Jeff, and the two of them would constantly pick on me for just literally breathing the same air as them. These two eventually became friends with me, and they're one of the reasons that I grew so fond of 321 Penguins. What actually made watching 321 Penguins funnier than it already was the fact that Lucas and Jeff would add their own commentary to it, almost like a Snapcube episode. In that same room, there was a huge ping pong table behind the TV. My friend Luca and I would end up playing this a bunch after we were banned from doing FNAF in real life. There were also a few other games that we had that I can't remember the names of, but all I can remember is the ping pong and another game that involved balls and a small narrow passageway. Since I can't remember it, I'll just describe it. Your goal was to get all of your balls on the opposite side of the pathway. There would be a small goal area where they would drop into this small ditch, which was the goal. Me being me, I wasn't very good at this, and neither were my siblings. We didn't really mind though, as long as we were having fun at the end of the day. Lucas, Jeff, and I also stayed over at the pastor's house once to play a 12-player Mario Kart game on their Wii. However, we had to wait till after our youth group session to actually play. I also remember going up to my pastor's house on a few other instances for our youth group meetings. I remember when she was giving us a lesson, and she then remembered that she needed to burn a sofa, so Lucas, Jeff, and myself ended up just chilling on a sofa in the middle of snowy forest and near -degree weather. Then we ended up burning it and going back inside for food. This was the same week that we had a Secret Santa event, and I remember Luca getting an actual drone. He accidentally broke it, but I don't blame him. It was one of those cheap ones from the dollar store. His parents then ended up getting him an actual one for his birthday the next year, which he brought to church every now and then. We would also spend a lot of time by the river near the church as well, which was fun. I remember going up there to find frogs at one point, if I recall correctly. I don't have too many memories of the river, given that my cousin was the one to go up to the river most of the time. I wasn't too big on the river, and I wish that I would have gone more often, because then I'd have a lot more to tell about it. I also remember when we would have what is known as Vacation Bible School, or VBS for short. This was usually a week-long event that would be hosted for 2 to 3 hours each night of the week during the summertime. When the week was over, there was a huge ceremony to commence the end of the VBS for that year. I remember that we would have a huge party outside, where there was a huge bouncy castle, snacks, ice cream, games, and the most exciting bit, a water slide. Because we had a huge hill outside the church, we would use tarps, soap, and water as a makeshift water slide. It was during these weeks at VBS that I met someone who shared the same birthday as me. I won't be sharing her name either, so I'll just be calling her Stacy. Stacy and I would end up making each other cards for our birthdays. We would draw things together, play video games, hang out. We were inseparable. So of course, we spent our time during VBS together. I remember when we did a Jonas and the Whale lesson, and we got to sit in a fake fire, or by a fake fire I meant, inside of a whale with one of the staff members literally cosplaying Jonas. This Jonas cosplayer would tell us stories about God and the Bible, especially telling us about how he ended up in the whale. Also, what made this experience more memorable was the fact that there were fans with some sort of paper on them or something that was wet. It literally made it feel like we were inside of an actual whale. However, things changed, unfortunately. She and her brother moved away to a different church because of the pastor, Jeff, and Lucas mistreating her brother. I'm not sure what happened, given it's not my place to share what happened, and I wish to respect their privacy. However, I have a very funny feeling it was something to do with what I'm about to tell. Everything I shared up till now has been absolutely peachy. It's been fine. Or was it? Behind the scenes, the pastor's kids would constantly bully my family, especially my brother. Whenever we would call the two out, they would throw a fit and their mom would rush in to defend them. He would always treat them like they would do no harm to pretty much everyone, and would let them get away with whatever. If they broke something, there was no punishment. If they yelled at someone, no sort of reprimanding. I'm not even joking. They were allowed to run around during the sermon room without any sort of restraints. This disrupted so much, and they weren't given any form of punishment. They were the reason that we left the church. There were also times during the sermon I would try to distract myself from the two girls. I remember reading the Bible in hopes that it would help, and upon reading it, there was a lot of things that I found that I didn't agree with or didn't understand. Like, how was God all-knowing, yet let Adam and Eve down on earth knowing that they would sin? If he made us in his image, why would he create them to be so hateful towards others, despite some of those people claiming that they're one of his? If he created everyone perfect in his image, then didn't he also create trans and gay people in his image as well? And also, nice try, transphobes. The exact line that you're trying to tell is often misinterpreted. The quote from the Bible is, "Man shall not lay with boy as he lays with man," which refers to pedophilia. It's saying that an adult man should not be laying with a boy meaning anyone under 18. Why is it that apparently we can take our neighbors as our slaves? I'm not even joking, that is an actual thing. Another thing that confused me and still confuses me is, why are there so many versions of the Bible? If God created one specific Bible, why are there so many versions of it? Every single person that I've asked this to, their answer always gave me more questions. I have so many questions, and none of them give me exact answers. That, or they tell me not to question God. Because of all the things that I read in the Bible, I just decided to step away from religion when I was in 8th grade. So no, I don't believe in any religion. Anyway, that's all from me. Error Shark out.